I think you'd be hard-pressed to find an adult or a kid who's not at least a little familiar with the iconic Transformers franchise. This group of transforming alien robots has been a part of people's childhoods across the globe and across generations. No matter how much people criticize Michael Bay, I feel like a huge amount of credit does go to him for reigniting interest in the franchise for newer generations, but there was also Beast Wars, which did the same for another group of people who grew up in the late 90s. The point I'm trying to make here is that the legacy of the Transformers franchise is long and storied, which explains its status as one of the biggest toy, animation, comic, and movie franchises in the world. However, today, I'm here to explore the series that arguably jump-started it all way back in 1984. That's right, we're talking about the original 1984 G1 Transformers animated TV series. In this video, we'll be exploring its origins, what made it so great, its slow decline, its controversial ending, and the legacy that it left behind. So, without any further ado, join us on our time machine as we travel back down memory lane to explore how the original Transformers ended. It's going to be a good one, so let's get into it. How did the original Transformers show begin? To truly understand the manner in which the original Transformers animated TV show ended, we think it's important to first get some context about its beginning. Following the success of the G.I. Joe animated show in toys, which involved Hasbro working with Marvel and Griffin Bacall's Sunbow Productions, Hasbro was eager to replicate that success once more. To this end, Hasbro approached Marvel and Sunbow to launch another comic series and animated show based on its line of robot toys, which were set to be called the Transformers. This series would feature the story of two factions of sentient alien robots capable of transforming their bodies, stuck in an eternal battle against each other. As you probably already know, Hasbro struck gold once again with its partners and their winning formula. Transformers grew into one of the biggest franchises of all time, and we think it cannot be overstated just how much of a role the TV series had to play in that. The original Transformers animated series aired for 4 seasons, along with a theatrical film, after which the American cartoon finally came to an end in 1987. The series ran from 1984 to 87 and is generally counted as having 98 episodes. By the time the series ended, we think it's fair to say that from the moment the 3-part miniseries More Than Meets the Eye first aired, fans already knew they had an absolute banger on their hands. The people behind the television series were also helped greatly by the fact that Bob Budiansky had already fleshed out many of the names, character biographies, and lore for the comics and Hasbro character material. Budiansky later explained that he came up with many names and character profiles for the early Transformers universe. Even the name Megatron came from Budiansky, who said he had to fight for it after Hasbro initially felt it sounded too scary. Good call, Bob. Of course, Megatron was designed to be intimidating, and Budiansky pushed back when Hasbro objected to the name because, in simple terms, he was the leader of the bad guys and was supposed to sound frightening. In our opinion, he's the reason the animated series had such a solid base to launch from, and he saved the writers the hassle of creating every preliminary backstory from scratch. Instead, they could expand on Budiansky's ideas, even though the stories in the comics and the original show would later diverge significantly from each other. Together, the original Transformers TV series and the Marvel Comics created a legacy that continues to stand the test of time more than 40 years later.
Out of the way, Hot Rod!
Earthquake, the 1986 movie. Before we go any further, I have to give you a trigger warning because we're going to bear witness to just how out of touch corporate decision makers could be even back in the day. And honestly, that's one of the things that upsets me the most. The Transformers, the movie, came out in the summer of 1986, essentially bridging the gap between the end of the second season and the beginning of the third. Flint Dill, who had worked as a story consultant on the film and later as story editor on the series, had gone on record saying that the production team and the people at Hasbro did not fully realize that Optimus Prime had become such a cultural icon by that time. Dill would later fully admit this mistake directly when he said, and I quote, "We didn't know he was an icon." This oversight led to a pretty surprising shock for fans back in the day because the film